frozen McGibbon. I think he will just remain frozen. Yes, his voice on the show, which means more of me, because coming up in a couple of days, Zach McGibbon, you and the Polar Plunge are coming together as one.
That's right. I will be taking in the Polar Plunge this Friday here in Belleville.
Have you done this before?
This will be my first time doing the Polar Plunge. I
Zach,
was convinced into it.
Yeah. Like most things in your life, convinced into it. Like pretty much every week on this podcast.
Pretty much, yeah. It's like, all right, well, I'll do one more episode. By the way, should mention as well, before we get into the Polar Plunge stuff, because I do want to talk about it and ways that people can help support. But I should mention, this is the 300th episode of This Is Wrestling this week. 300 episodes we've done of this show.
That's like saying it's episode 257 to me. It's just a number, Zach.
Just another week, baby. Just another week.
It's another chance to hear how wrong you were about a lot of stuff. We've got to do that like 300 times. You're right. It's a big number. Congratulations, everyone listening. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Of course. For those that tuned in from first episode all the way to here, or just hopping on or joining the midway point, we appreciate it as always.
Having to listen to Zach be wrong 300 times.
Wow.
Look, we understand. I know what you're saying. You're throwing things at your radio or your computer right now saying Zach's wrong a lot more than just once a show. I get it. I understand.
Wow.
But for the purposes of continuing, so we can all get to 500 or 1,000, we need to dial it back. So Zach, congratulations.
Thank
300.
You. 300 episodes. So I want to make mention of that. Because since you were mentioning coming back each and every week, having to be convinced to do an episode, just like I was convinced for the Polar Plunge.
So tell us about this Polar Plunge, because I know you're raising money for a good cause, which is great. Let us know how to do it. And Zach, I'm telling you, I only have one piece of advice for you.
Okay.
Zach, I know that this is very easy for you to do, so you just do it. Don't think.
Right. Just run in.
Zach, I'm telling you, any hesitation, and it's over. Like you'll finish it because someone will like push you in. But I'm telling you, this is more than just rip the Band-Aid off. This is do not think, go do it, dive in, whatever you need to do, and then get out.
That's right. Just get the head space in there and just get the right mindset going as I plunge into the water, coming off of the boat launch at the Herkimer boat launch, Lee, in the city of Belleville.
The very famous Herkimer boat launch.
Yes, I know you knew about it before I mentioned it, but and all the people that are listening in know about it before I mentioned it. But yes, I am taking part in the Polar Plunge. We are raising funds. Our team is raising funds for Special Olympics Ontario. That's all across Ontario. And so far, our team has raised over $500 last check on during this recording. And we got some great donations coming in. And I'll put a link into the description of this episode if anybody wants to donate. Yes, there will be video of me jumping into the water, going into the water with the team I'm with at Quinny Broadcasting. Yes, there'll be photos. You will probably see me come out as an ice cube coming after this. Especially with the weather coming up in our area. There is some snow in the forecast as well. So it is going to be a cold Friday, it looks like. But we're raising funds for Special Olympics Ontario. That'll be taking place Friday. And again, the link is in the description for those that want to donate and want to cheer me on in terms of freezing myself into the water.
Now, the good news for you, because you obviously haven't done this before, it's actually better for you the worse it is outside. So the fact that it's going to be really cold outside is better for you to get acclimated. I mean, you'll never get acclimated to that type of cold, but it's actually better for you, because if it were a hot day, like one of those days last week that was 17 degrees but the water is still ice cold because it hasn't even like melted yet, and you got icebergs and snow drifts coming in. That would be worse. So, Zach, just if you set up the hot tub and the beer for me in like for a watch party, I'll be there.
Get a live stream going or something?
Yep. No, for sure. Just I need a hot tub and I need a beer. And if you're able to provide those things for me, I will come and watch.
Oh boy. Well, there you go.
Yeah, that's probably
It'd be
what
a tough
everybody
task,
needs.
but
That's probably what everybody needs coming out of the polar plunge.
yes. Nothing more motivating than that.
What time?
What time? It'll be at 1 o'clock, starting at 1
okay.
o'clock, and should continue till 3. We'll probably be done before that, but it will start at 1 o'clock on Friday. So
Zach, at 1 o'clock and 3 seconds, you'll be out.
I'm in and I'm out, and then that's it.
Okay. One more question: who's on the team?
It's fellow Quinny Broadcasting employees. So it's myself. We've got somebody from the creative team that helps write the commercials. Mitch is joined in. A couple of the salespeople with us as well. Cassandra Bond and Jamie Van Eggs is going to join us. A member of the promotions team, and also the morning show hosts for Rock 107, and also helps with the news at Quiddy News. Tim Durkin will be joining in and dumping ourselves into the water. And we're going to have these specialty shirts made, is what I've been told. So be on the lookout for that.
What punny name?
I don't know. I've been told it's going to be a surprise, but we're going to like it. So we haven't gotten the shirts yet. I haven't seen them yet. I don't know if we'll get them day of or whatnot, but I'm interested to see what it is.
Yeah, I'm interested in a lot of things about this, but what I am most interested in is you guys are raising money for Special Olympics Ontario, correct?
That is right.
All right, fantastic. That's awesome. Please do send that link, and hopefully some of our very loyal listeners will help you. I'm sure they'll be cheering you on.
Yes, I've already gotten some words of encouragement. Holsky sent me a gif of Kevin Nash jumping into the pool on Nitro when I announced that I was doing the Polar Plunge. Yeah, I really like that reference. A nice wrestling reference as well. That's what I should do, quite honestly. Show up like Kevin Nash with the Hawaiian shirt on and the shorts and just jump right into the pool, cannonball right in there.
I'm trying to think of what I would wear going into the pool or the lake, right?
Yes. The Bay of Quinte.
The Bay of Quinte. What would I wear? Trying to think of something wrestling punny. All I can really think of is, for me, it'd be Snow Problem.
Very nice.
To get in, yeah.
Snow Problem.
It'd be Snow Problem. Because everyone's going to come up. The first thing that everyone thinks of is like Frosted Flakes. Yeah, we know, listener, we're better than Frosted Flakes. Okay. Oh, I got a good one. See, for me, it would be it's Snow Problem, or is it Ice maybe?
Ice maybe. There you go.
Yeah, because I'm not sure. Okay,
I will definitely be Vanilla Ice going in there. I could tell you that.
I'd get my toes dipped in, and I would have a
maybe not today. You gotta hit him with the that's not gonna work for me, brother.
That's not.
I try to hit it with that for the jumping into the water, but as mentioned, I was convinced, and I am locked in. I'll tell you, last week, as you mentioned, when it was really nice outside, 15 degrees, I was like, this might not be as bad as I thought. And then the weather report came out of the snow and whatnot. It's like, maybe it is gonna be as bad as I thought. We'll see. But it's all for a good cause. So again, make sure to donate if you can.
Okay, I'm coming up with one more because I just thought I'm just like wrestling names are going through my brain, and I'm trying to think of. You remember the Thrill Seekers?
Oh yes.
The tag team. I go with the Chill Seekers.
Ooh, very good, very good.
Mm-hmm.
You could do Glacier if you wanted to. Just Glacier.
Yeah, if I wanted to.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. If you want, you don't have to. How about Ice Train? Another
Yeah.
cold related. Get Ice Train in there.
But I'm trying to think of something that would be punny for everyone, not the most
Yeah, not us
like
nerds.
if you know who Ice Train is and you don't watch wrestling, good for you, but
Yeah.
you probably don't.
I'd be stunned at that, quite frankly.
Glacier. You guys remember Glacier? Yeah.
You're big fans of Mortal Kombat, right? It's like that.
That's funny. Okay, so let's get on to some wrestling here because we got a lot from the spikes in the back that happened since we've last talked. John Moxley and Cope, who apparently had a main event match for the world title in the middle of Dynamite.
That's right.
I was having a little bit of a difficult time understanding that, but a lot to get to in, of course, the WWE on the road to WrestleMania. And the last time that we talked, Zach, and I'm going to start here. We can go all over the place, but I'm going to start here. Last time we talked, we thought that we were going to get a Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, CM Punk match. And that pretty much is exactly what we're going to get. I still haven't heard the reason for said match, and I'm having more and more of a difficult time understanding it. So, I ask you again, is this the main event for night number 1? And tell me what it is about this match that I should care about the ending.
I do think this will end up main eventing night 1 of WrestleMania. And I think it'll main event not necessarily because the story is the strongest, but more for the people involved in the match. With the Roman Reigns and CM Punk, especially. If you want to argue Seth, fine. He has main evented WrestleMania before, so I'll hear an argument. But that's really all I can come up with and muster right now when it comes to why you should care about the result at the end between these three and how it'll move forward. Because as you mentioned, one of the things we talked about on the last episode was, how can they make us care? And I threw out the idea of maybe you can make this like a number 1 contenders match. And you can have it be the number 1 contender for Cody's belt or maybe John Cena's belt at the end of WrestleMania. Who knows? But you could set up your next program after that. That would add a little bit more intrigue. But, as you mentioned, we haven't really gotten that yet. It's more just we don't really like each other. And Punk cut that promo on Raw. By the way, making reference how he works with children. To the reaction of nobody in the crowd because WWE fans don't really care about that. And Punk keeps on trying with this stuff. And Phil, let it go. Move on, please. No more of the AEW references. It's not working. This is not the audience to try it with.
Yeah.
But having said all that, we haven't really gotten something definitive when it comes to why all of these three are fighting, other than they've interfered in each other's matches and have gotten in the way of each other. So we're going to settle it with a wrestling match. And
we don't like each other.
Yeah.
From years past.
That's right. History of not liking each other coming to fruition at WrestleMania.
Yeah. In the main event.
That's right. Where else would you have it?
Well, AEW had their world title match in the middle of their television show.
That's also very true, yes.
So there's from one end of the spectrum to the other. So if I asked you right now, and you can put, there's a lot of factors, right? Because I would imagine even if it is not a number 1 contenders match, that we are going to see some sort of fallout from this match being put in a position around the title, wouldn't you think? Like the winner of this match, whether they tell us or not, would be right there as far as coming up in the next few months around the world title?
I would have to imagine so.
Right.
Considering the star power of the three involved.
Yeah. So whatever factor you want to weigh in, who would you say right now is your odds-on favorite?
I would say Punk, because I think I don't see Roman taking a fall here. I'll say that. I know it's a kind of an early prediction, but I don't. I feel like with Punk, there's still more you could do, and it would be fresher. Funny enough, with him in the world title picture, no matter who is the champion at the end of Mania, at the end of the 2 nights of Mania. So, in my mind, it would be Punk that would be the featured player, because you could work either the match with Cody, where they kind of built it up during the January, February months, or if you wanted to go full nostalgia and play and tug at the heartstrings of the lawn suffering fans, you could go back and do a CM Punk versus John Cena feud, which would be an interesting dynamic if they wanted to continue the heel route with Cena and have a heel John Cena versus a babyface CM Punk. That would be a different dynamic in their feud while still playing off of their history. So to me, it would be Punk. And with the other two, like Roman, he's a guy that you could put off for a while because he just had such a lengthy title reign that you don't have to put him into the title mix right away, and you could build to him coming back. And Seth's a guy, like, I've said it on the show, I've not been the biggest Seth Rollins guy. I don't think he's bad or anything like that, but they push him as a bigger deal. But between the three, he would be the most likely to take a fall. So in my mind, it would be Punk.
I think that's, I don't want to call it a safe pick, but I understand why. Because no matter who wins that world title match, you could see CM Punk facing them.
Yep.
And I totally understand that. And it's hard actually to argue with it. I'm going to give you another thought here. I'm going to give you that Seth Rollins is going to win this match.
Okay.
I'm going to give you the fact that Seth Rollins is going to win it because I've convinced myself. Unfortunately, we've had, a couple things come up, and it's been 8 or 9 days since I last talked to you. So I've had a lot of time to let this sink in. A lot of time. Thoughts with myself are actually the best. Like, nobody's smarter than me. Wow. So it's a really, really good conversation.
Don't hold back, Lee. Tell me how you really feel about.
Oh, I'm going to. I'm about to. Zach, stop interrupting me. I'm about to.
I'm just imagining you, like, you're sitting down in your chair and you've got your finger and your thumb on your chin and you're looking back and thinking.
I got my cloak and my pipe and my robe.
Yes.
I'm ruminating about a lot of things.
There you go. Smoke is filling up in the room, and you're just like, so many ideas being thought up, and you've got like a book.
And here's my best one. One I think is going to. I've convinced myself that I think it could happen, and for me, I think it would be the best thing for two people. I think at the end of WrestleMania, there's going to be two people that are Paul Heyman people. And those people are going to be Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch.
Okay.
What if Paul Heyman turns on both Roman Reigns and CM Punk? And Becky Lynch joins, and suddenly you could put titles on. You certainly could put a title on Becky Lynch, and you absolutely could put a world championship. Like, if you truly believe that Jey Uso is going to win, which I happen to think that that's true. And I don't think this road to WrestleMania is going very well for Mr. Uso.
No.
I think everything has died down completely since maybe a week after the Rumble. By the way, remind me to get to another Tamatonga absolute incredible botch on Friday night.
Hell yeah.
Like so embarrassing.
It's spread to Jey Uso now.
I know.
It's incredible.
I know.
It's incredible.
I don't think it's going very well for Jey Uso, but I still think he's going to win.
Oh yeah, they're locked in. I'm pretty sure he's still going to win.
Yeah. But I don't know how long he's going to keep that, because I don't know how long Jey Uso can be your champion after that. He's a pretty good chaser. I think Seth Rollins could upend Jey Uso pretty quickly after that.
Yep.
It's a way to bring Becky Lynch back in, and it's certainly a way to have feuds, regardless of whether Seth has a title or not. Suddenly, Roman and Punk are trying to literally move each other out of the way to get to Seth Rollins. And then you have a feud for a long time over the summer if you really wanted to hang on to Cody and John Cena. Maybe move Randy Orton into that to get his time in the sun before it goes away. I just think it's got a lot of legs. And as you said, it kind of keeps all of them away from a title. Like, to me, the best story that could be told out of this, because I am trying to make up a story that isn't there right now.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why they're wrestling, other than I guess they don't like each other. And now it's a main event? Okay. So I'm trying to work backwards again to be like, okay, well, if Seth Rollins ends up going with Paul Heyman, and then both guys, Punk and Reigns, could even wrestle each other to try and get to Seth Rollins, and both are kind of trying to get in and out of each other's way to get there. And suddenly Seth Rollins beats Jey Uso for the title. Now there's even more reason for them to go there. And it keeps that spotlight on those top guys away from the title picture, the WWE title picture of Cody Rhodes, of John Cena, of I have to believe that Randy Orton's going to be involved at some point.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not something I look forward to. But I do think it's something that can happen and keep those other guys away from what's going on. That's all. I think it would be a great angle. Something that not a lot of people would see coming. And it could stretch storylines out for the next 6 months after that, before those guys get back into, if you really want to make that other title prominent again. And I love Gunther, and I didn't mind Jey Uso winning the Rumble. I thought he'd have more momentum in the middle of March than he does, but he doesn't really. But if you want to make that title relevant again, put it in the middle of Punk and Reigns and Rollins. Because to me, that does. So I guess I've just been thinking about this for a while, going, I don't understand why they're wrestling. I don't understand what's happening. I want, they all do a pull apart at the end and they all point to the WrestleMania sign. Like, why? Just to feed their egos to be in an important spot, I guess.
Well, you got to point at the sign. That's like
pointing
WWE.
At the sign? Come
yeah.
on.
They all got to point at the sign. They got to.
You know what?
That's a moment. You got to do the moment.
You know who it's not a moment for? Roman Reigns.
No,
he does not need to point at a WrestleMania sign. Yeah. The guy's been in the main event of what?
6 of them. It's yeah.
No, yeah. Isn't it more? He's 6 of the last 7.
Something wild. He's been there a while. Yeah.
He doesn't need to point at the sign to get involved in a 3-way match that doesn't have a title on the line. Come on.
It's like second nature to these wrestlers, though, in WWE. They got to point at the sign.
Don't like it.
No. Me neither, just for the record. But
Yeah. Okay, so that's kind of a long-winded thing on that, but that's my working theory right now.
Would you say
let-
you worked yourself into a shoot about this?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Probably. I usually do.
Yeah.
And then when I'm right once every 10 times, I'll tell you all about it.
It's the pontificating that you've been doing in the last couple of days.
I like to ruminate. Yeah. Cody Rhodes and John Cena. Zach, I'm getting more concerned about this because yes, and all our friend Ben, I'll call it adding to the show, even though I don't want to. Decided to let us all know that twice has Cody Rhodes defended his belt in the last 6 months on either television or a PLE. And both were against Kevin Owens, one on Saturday night's main event, December 14th, one at the Rumble on February the 1st. And then he also defended against Solo Sikoa, September 13th on SmackDown. 3 televised title defenses between September and April. That's not great.
No.
And I'm not sure why. Like, is Cody hurt or is he gearing up for almost like a second run? Like, what do you make of those numbers, first of all?
Yeah, it's interesting how they've got it separated, and we've seen this with the PLEs where Cody doesn't main event those PLEs either. They'll kind of alternate. I think some of that was from the gimmicks shows that they had to do, like a Royal Rumble. Although, you know, Cody did defend his title at the Royal Rumble, but Elimination Chamber as well. I think some of that is just gimmicks. And other thing that, you know, what the WWE they love to do is they love to limit their cards to 4 or 5 matches. And in some cases, Cody's not going to be able to make it onto that card, as they've got other things programmed for it. So that's how I kind of took away from this. But as soon as Ben shared that information with me, I thought back to your rant about Liv Morgan on that Saturday night's main event where they showed the amount of title defenses she had in 203 days. And that was the first thing that popped in my head with this.
Yeah, for sure, right? And then even the world title with Gunther really hasn't been on very much. October 7th versus Sami Zayn, November 30th versus Damian Priest at Survivor Series. Damian Priest and Finn Balor, Saturday night's main event. Jey Uso, Saturday night's main event. So since September the 1st, both titles have only been defended once, each on PLE. So maybe Liv Morgan defended a lot. Maybe I have to take all of that back.
Maybe she's the modern standard of a working champion now.
Yeah. By the way, just watched Rivals again on A&E.
Ooh.
With Ricky Steamboat and Ric Flair. So good.
Very, very good.
So good.
Those were pretty good matches, between Steamboat and Flair. Yeah. It was pretty good.
I know, but what's interesting, I think, and I hope for a lot of people that were watching, was that, you know, it basically was Ric Flair as a relatively younger guy back in like the early 80s in the mid-Atlantic, picking out Ricky Steamboat to be like, this is the guy. This is the guy I want to work with. This is the guy that, you know, would beat Ric Flair for the Mid-Atlantic television title. And Flair going on to, you know, huge things and wanting to work with Ricky Steamboat. And then Steamboat left to go to the WWF, became the Dragon. And when he came back, instantaneous. And then the trilogy happened. There's a lot kind of before where they sandpapered Ricky Steamboat's face, and it took him like almost 2 years for it to come back. That's insane.
So
but
good.
It was really, really good. And that's a working champion, by the way, Ric Flair.
Absolutely. Maybe he
It's-
worked a little too hard during
Yeah,
the
no,
80s. But
for
yeah.
sure. He worked in all aspects of his life.
But I know what you're saying. But I know what you're saying with that.
Yeah, it's nothing for them to go out for 45 minutes and wrestle, which is basically what your champion, who is supposed to be your best wrestler, that's what should happen.
Yep.
So, anyway, I mean, I look at all of that stuff and I go, wow, like that's pretty incredible. So, for Cody Rhodes and John Cena, you got two guys that don't wrestle a lot right now. And Cena making not very many appearances. Do you feel any differently about Cena and Rhodes going into WrestleMania? How do you feel now?
In terms of the feud, I'm really we're starting to be a little repetitive and start going in circles here about what this is all for. Have they explained yet why John Cena turned heel and allied himself with The Rock and Travis Scott at Elimination Chamber? Nope.
Not to my recollection.
No.
Nope.
I tried to get answers, Lee. I did my
Yeah.
I
You're an
brought back an old bit.
You're an investigative journalist.
That's right. And so I brought back one of my old bits and I tweeted directly at The Rock today before recording.
Fantastic.
The Rock put out a tweet, which now I've gone to the post and he's now deleted it for some reason. So maybe he's feeling the pressure of my investigative journalism.
There's no question about that.
Probably. Hopefully I'll end up accidentally in a group chat somehow and learning about the plans for WrestleMania that shouldn't be leaked out. But I tweeted at The Rock. You'd be shocked to hear this, Lee, but he tweeted out a video celebrating 5 years of Terramana tequila. And it was a 6-minute video. It's like, okay, I got it, Rock. You're selling Terramana. Like, you've only put that over 1,000 times whenever I see you on screen. I got it. But I tweeted at The Rock, "Hi, Rock, comma, can you please explain why John Cena joined your heel faction along with Travis Scott, question mark? Please and thank you." And I got no responses and a singular like on my tweet. So, and then the post got deleted. So I think Rock is feeling the pressure. So he might show up on TV next week because of my tweet. So you can thank me later if that happens. But no, it's okay because John Cena has gone out on TV and he's mad about people, crapping on the spinner belt, which I think was the last time we saw the spinner belt was over 10 years ago. So the spinner belt, that was discussed. He said that again that the WWE fans are awful, which, I'm not going to disagree with that, John, but like let's change it up a little bit here. Let's get something new going. Let's get some new material. Like,
doesn't have any.
Like, why did you join The Rock and Travis Scott? Can somebody please mention the giant electrifying man-size hole in the room where and one of the biggest rappers in the world? Like, what's going on? Why is he not there? Don't hit me with well, you gotta wait for it to let it play out on TV. They haven't even hinted at it on TV.
Nope.
One of the biggest heel turns of all time, Hulk Hogan. You know when he explained why he turned heel? Literally after the heel turn that night, he cut a promo to the crowd. Literally that night. I don't want to hear about waiting longer. Give me something, a little bit of a hint, because it's becoming a giant rock-sized hole in this story. And if it's true what I saw, that apparently John Cena has one more appearance before he goes to Mania, then he'll be off and we won't see him until WrestleMania, then what are we doing here? What are we doing here? Like, I know the first week when we talked about the Cena promo, it was like, okay, it's not going 100% in. There were some good lines, but, it's not 100%. He went after that kid as well, blah, blah, blah. And was like, okay, we'll see what happens. And it was just literally just copy last week's promo, put it into this week's promo, and you've got the same thing. And you're not going to believe this, Lee, but Cody Rhodes and John Cena are going to have a face-to-face next week. I mean, wow. We haven't seen that the last 2 weeks, where John Cena and Cody Rhodes have faced off against each other. Shouldn't Cody be mad that he got beaten to a bloody pulp by this guy and wants to like seek his revenge and try and go after this guy? He got punched in the face by Travis Scott. Legitimately. And he just showed up like, I don't recognize this guy. I don't know who's it. He beat you up. He bloodied you up. So I'm starting to lose some steam on this feud. They gotta change it up. But they're not committing to it. They're still selling the merch because the merch is still the priority when it comes to John Cena. So losing steam with me here, Lee. They gotta do something here. They've got to explain the Rock stuff. I know with Hunter that he's gonna say, oh, I was put in a bad situation because the Rock, joined in and ruined all my plans. Well, you gotta make it work. You're the booker. You're the face of all the creative here. You were voted Booker of the Year. Show why you're Booker of the Year and learn to adapt. Every booker in wrestling history has had things that have come to them that they didn't have in their plans. Change it up. Make it work. I don't want to hear it. So I can't believe this with the WrestleMania build. John Cena turned heel like weeks ago. And people are like, I don't know about this build for WrestleMania. I mean, we're not really... One of the biggest moments in wrestling history happened weeks ago, and we're sitting here like, this build, I'm not feeling it this year. I mean, we have a triple threat in the main event. We don't know what's going on. Jey Uso's losing steam. He's literally slipping as he's going in for a spear. They're making it into a joke now. They're making it part of the character that he botches, which I don't know, Lee. I wouldn't do that as a booker. I don't think that's how Paul Heyman booked ECW, by exposing all of their flaws and making sure, and that's how ECW got popular, by exposing all their flaws on TV. But it's just stunning to me that this is at the stage that we're at with this.
Well, I think what you said about Cena's appearances is interesting, because whether they're swerving people or not, John Cena is only going to appear this coming Monday in London, and that's it before WrestleMania. Unless you have something different from that. Do you?
No, last I checked, his next appearance, at least officially announced, maybe they'll announce more, but the next official appearance, and like maybe the last appearance, is next week on Raw.
And then just WrestleMania.
Yep.
And you're going to tell me that he's going to win? I don't know.
I can't rule it out still. I mean, there's a part of me that's thinking that they're committed to a plan here, but I'm not saying he's going to win. The more it goes along, the more I'm leaning towards Cody, but I can't rule it out entirely that he's going to win.
No, nothing with John Cena I don't think you can rule out. I just think having a guy like that win when he hasn't been on at all, and winning the Elimination Chamber, and that's it, and not seeing him again. I mean, this is just the WWE's motto now, I guess, with all their top guys. Like, just don't have them wrestle. Don't have them appear.
Yep.
It doesn't make much sense to me, and I'm still thinking that like the reason why I don't think they've explained it is because, at least this is just my rationale, my pontificating, is because they don't really have one, and they're going to turn him back. I think it's easier to turn him back and say he just did something stupid. He can come out and say, I did something stupid for the glory and the moment because I wanted the moment. And I think people would understand.
Yep. This is a moment's company, as we say.
Mm-hmm. Because what did he really do? Like, he kicked him below the belt, and then it was part of a beat up of of Cody, but
Yep.
wasn't all of it.
No. Travis Scott certainly laid his part. Yeah.
He did, yeah. So I guess that's my lack of an explanation, is that they're going to turn him back, so they don't want to go too far down the road of why he did it, so that they can give him the reason why he did it and turn him back face. Because as you said, I think the more you think about it, when he had one of the biggest heel turns of all time, comparing it like legitimately to Hogan in the NWO, they've done nothing since then. Like absolutely nothing to continue on that. That would be like Hogan turning and then them just not doing anything for the next few months. What's this NWO stuff? I think I saw that Bash at the beat. No. No,
he wouldn't even acknowledge it. He would just
Hogan
be like,
just made a mistake. Yeah.
He wouldn't even acknowledge it if it was doing the Cena route. He would just be like, you WCW fans are awful to me, brother. Just awful.
Just drop the mic at the press conference and leave.
That's right. Find some kid and it's like, you and I are in a toxic relationship, dude. That's what it would be.
So I am, and as you said, so getting back on this WrestleMania losing steam thing, I'm trying to not let it. I'm legitimately, because I was pretty pumped up after the Royal Rumble. I was pretty pumped up as they were going into the month of February, thinking they got a pretty good head of steam here. And I had to watch another sit-down interview with Charlotte Flair and Tiffany Stratton, and Tiffany Stratton is, I don't know why they're putting her in this position. I really don't.
Yeah.
Because even if she beats Charlotte Flair, I don't think she looks particularly strong on the way here. She looks meek. She looks overwhelmed. She had another sit down interview where I'm like, oh no, oh Tiffany, no. Like she just looks completely out of her element.
Yep.
And I'm not even sure it's fair to put her in that spot. Maybe it is, and she's just not kind of running with the ball, or maybe she's just not that experienced.
Mm-hmm.
But she's had a couple of slip-ups, kind of like Jey Uso. And you got all these people that Tiffany's the champion, Jay's not. But you get these people that haven't been in these positions before, and we're seeing slip-ups by them. And that's not good.
No.
So the more I go into all of these matches, I'm still intrigued by them, and I will become WrestleMania time. But I don't have a lot of momentum with John Cena and Cody Rhodes. I certainly don't understand the three-way, other than they don't like each other. Tiffany Stratton looks like a fish out of water against Charlotte Flair. Jey Uso's, as you said, is a meme now for slipping up and them not caring and showing it over and over again.
Yep.
I'm not really interested in Randy Orton and Kevin Owens. And Kevin Owens comes out and says, oh, we should be a tag team. And Randy's like, no, actually, I'm just going to face you at WrestleMania and punch you in the head. Like, oh, all right. I guess. How many jobs does Kevin Owens have to do in big moments? He gets to beat his friend Sami Zayn, but other than that, he just loses to everybody all the time.
Yep.
Maybe I'm losing a little bit of momentum, Zach. That's all.
Yeah. I am also losing momentum with this WrestleMania build. And I was a little more pessimistic about it, just considering some of the talents that was being pushed, namely Jey Uso. But this has kind of gone in a path that I think is concerning, especially considering some of the stuff that has happened during this build. It shouldn't be at this point. So.
Okay. So I do want to get to at least the WWE logic. They're trying to improve their logic with Jacob Fatu and Braun Strowman being in a match for the #1 contendership for the U.S. title. And with Solo and Tama Tonga coming down, they get their guy Jacob Fatu disqualified, and Braun Strowman's going to be in the match now, and rightly so. Jacob Fatu's pissed. Okay, at least they're following a little bit of logic with that. But if you watch Tama Tonga run at LA Knight, I don't know whether I watched it like 5 times, and I still don't understand whether he jumped early or he kind of slipped. And I'm like, no, I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. I'm going to really, really watch LA Knight, because I don't like LA Knight either. I'm going to watch him to see if he had any fault in this. And then the answer is 0. He's trying to just back body drop him over the top rope. And Tama Tonga jumped early and like didn't even come close to it. And so he fell down before the ropes and then just fell to the outside. It was so bad, Zach. It was so bad. Like, what are you doing? It just doesn't help. It really doesn't. So, all in all, I wish I want to be excited about one of these matches, and I'm not. And I want to be, Zach. Let's go to AEW. What did you think of the spikes in the back of Jon Moxley?
Yeah, that was quite the talking points coming out of that last week's Dynamite, was that match with Cope and Moxley. So I thought it was quite the visual when I watched it. Certainly got me grossed out a little bit. I didn't hate it as much as other people did. I think it's one of those visual things. Like, I could understand if you're somebody that doesn't like that sort of visual aspect, it's be a little bit too much for you. I get it. You know, it was, whenever there's spots like this that happen in AEW, you're always going to get the people that will say, oh, this is killing the business, brother. We're killing the territory. The company's killing it. It's all this stuff, right? Just imminent death, the way that some people respond to this. Obviously, I'm not going to go down that route. I didn't mind the spot as much as others did. I mean, it's the thing with Moxley at this point, like, you know, I could go back to ZZW with some of his stuff, but in terms of stuff we've seen with AEW, like, I'm not shocked that this spot would happen. I thought the overall match was fine. I didn't think it was all that great, but that spot certainly made it stick out, and people are going to think about that spot for a while, because it's one of the things that makes AEW stand out, is doing things that WWE will just not do at its current state of the company. So I didn't mind it. I can understand why some might be a little bit turned off, where it might be just a little bit too much of a visual, but to me, I look at it as something similar to, you know, a guy taking a bump in Thumbtacks, but you know, it's a little bit more, it sticks in a little bit more, for lack of better phrasing. So I didn't mind it as much personally.
Yeah, I think if you really follow the wrestling scene and people get back body dropped into thumbtacks or sometimes glass,
Yep.
to me, that's just as bad. It just doesn't sometimes hold the visual when you can't see all of the things. But yeah, I mean, look, it cuts into his back. It's a dangerous spot for sure, but it's not like a career threatening spot.
No.
I just didn't quite understand the placement of the match. Look, you and I got to see Megan Bayne at C4.
Yep.
And that was great a couple of months ago. But if I told you when we went to that C4 show in January that there was going to be an episode of Dynamite coming up in 2 months, that Megan Bayne would main event a show that Jon Moxley defended his world title against Edge, Cope. I hate calling him Cope.
Cope.
So stupid. Adam Copeland. And he would get, what's the name that he has for that cope for the thing that got stuck in Moxley's back?
Oh,
Whatever name.
I know what you're talking about. Yes.
Yeah. But
Spike. Not Spike TV, but Spike the Bat.
Yeah. So Moxley's gonna wrestle Edge in the main, like, for the world title on Dynamite in a street fight where Spike is going to get caught in Moxley's back. But that'll be in the middle of the show, and Megan Bayne will main event.
Correct.
Okay. Didn't quite understand too after having that spot, and all of a sudden he just gets choked out. And now the big, as we sit here and record before Dynamite, by the way, on a Wednesday night, the big thing that we need to find out is why Dax Harwood's mad.
Correct.
Like, folks, Jon Moxley and Adam Copeland were in a world title match on Dynamite last week with Spike stuck in Moxley's back, but then he just choked him out. And now my angle is that why is Dax Harwood mad? I actually don't care why Dax Harwood is mad. And I'm trying to understand why Megan Bayne is main eventing against Chris Statlander. Now, love those two women. I think they're very good. And we also sat here, and I know people might be thinking back to go, well, aren't you the same guy that said that Tony Storm and Mariah May should have main evented? Well, yes. And that was for a world title.
Yep.
And that was also one of the most historic, memorable matches of all time in the women's division.
Yep.
Maybe the most memorable women's match ever in AEW. And it didn't main event. I'm a big believer in the world title main eventing. So even though I hated Moxley against Copeland after it had to follow Ospreay and Fletcher and Kenny Omega and Keshka and Mariah May and Tony Storm, it had a really tough act to follow. But that's why you're in that position, because you're wrestling for the world title. So I'm a big believer in that still, even though at that specific pay-per-view it didn't work out. It was the wrestlers that didn't work out. And yeah, did they get a bad spot? Sure. But to put them in the middle of AEW Dynamite at like 8:55 and have Megan Bayne, who just got to your company, main event and win against Chris Statlander? So you're going to have to explain this to me, Zach. Why did all this happen? And are you intrigued why Dax Harwood is mad?
Well, I'm not intrigued why Dax Harwood would be mad. I can explain it more from a nerdy rating standpoint, where, you know, what we kind of generally consider a main event. You see with AEW, they change it more with how they put together their shows, try and follow a rating pattern. So sometimes they'll do stuff in the middle of the show to try and carry some people into the second hour. So I can explain it in that sort of nerdy aspect when it comes to ratings. From a story aspect, obviously they wanted to protect Cope by the way they did the finish. I want to ask a question after this too, by the way, about Cope that might ruffle a few feathers. But they're setting up Cope to get him out of the title picture and something into with Dax Harwood and potentially Christian Cage again. So we'll see if that kind of plays into that, and it gets Moxley into the path so that he could go after Swerve Strickland. So I get it from that standpoint. I don't love it. The question I have, Lee, and this is the one that might ruffle a few feathers because he's very well liked, and I understand when I ask this question, people might get a little bit of a jolt. Is Adam Copeland not willing to do some jobs, Lee? Because I look at his win-loss record in AEW, and granted, he's been injured as well, so I do have to take that into account. But when you look at his win-loss record in AEW in terms of like clean pinfall losses, the only one it really has been Christian Cage. So, and the other ones have been like, in this case here with Cope, I made the joke during the Revolution review about, Ed Leslie coming in to make the save for Hulk Hogan so that Hulk Hogan didn't have to tap or submit. Is this something that's kind of playing out a little bit here? And maybe I'm just kind of looking too deep into it. And maybe I'm just, throwing something out there. But I look at this and I'm like, I don't know. It's been a while since he's done a clean one. I've looked past at like other opponents. There have been no contests with other guys, like with Daniel Garcia. And look, maybe it's not even Cope. Maybe Tony Khan wants to protect Cope. Maybe he sees him as somebody to protect on the roster. I don't know. But I've taken notice of this, Lee, and I am starting to write it down when it comes to some of the Cope matches I've seen recently. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I do have a couple of thoughts.
Sure.
Number one, I read something that was one of the more ridiculous things that I've ever read. And they were dead serious. That there was a report out that Adam Copeland actually doesn't get pinned because he can't lie on his back for more than 3 seconds. No, but like that's why he gets choked out.
Back spasms and all that. Yes.
Yeah, like he's actually injured.
Yes. I think I know that post. I think that was a parody post, but it did make me laugh.
I know, but I looked at that and went, there's some truth to it. I look at his win-loss record, though. Lost a street fight against Moxley. Lost, of course, in the pay-per-view.
Mm-hmm.
Lost at the Brisbane Brawl in the tag match.
Mm-hmm.
His wins have come against, in the last, to this run to the world title, he only beat Yuta and Pac.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, hasn't really. He did beat Big Bill on Collision as well. I wouldn't exactly say he's had an unbelievable record. He's lost 3 of his last 4 matches.
But has he taken the losses though? As in, he's laid down on his back, or he's, smacked his hand to the mat and tapped out. That's where I'm kind of more looking at it. Because you could lose. You could certainly lose.
Yeah, but he hasn't wrestled, and I think that's the point. He's literally been since. I'm looking at all the appearances that he's had since he broke his leg. And that was way back in May of 2024. He's only appeared and wrestled 9 times. And 1, 2, 3, 4 of those 9 have been in tag matches. He wrestled Pac, Big Bill, Wheeler Yuta. And then in the pay-per-view where Christian came in, and then Moxley on Dynamite. That's it. Since May last year. So, I don't know. Does he do jobs? Does he not do jobs? Can he lay down for 3 seconds? Does he need to get choked out? Does he need to have Christian actually lose a match on a pay-per-view for him? I don't know. When you only wrestle 9 times and you only wrestle 5 singles matches, I'm not sure whether you take jobs or not. It's unfortunate. I feel like this is one of those runs where he came back and I'm like, no, he's still decent. And then I'm like, I don't think he's decent anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't like saying that about him because I really like him. I'd rather see Christian in there for 12 or 14 minutes than Cope right now.
Same here.
So So I get it from your ratings point of view, and that is probably the answer, but I just don't. I don't like it. I think you build towards your main event in your television show, and if you're going to put the best match on that you have at 9 o'clock and hope somebody's still watching at 10, why would they? Why would they? I'm not sure.
Yeah.
So as we go to, and we look forward to Dynasty, Swerve Strickland going up against Mox for the world title. Do you think Swerve wins?
See, this is tough because I could see them going ahead with Swerve if they wanted to abort mission when it comes to the Death Riders having the world title. That could be an easy getting off point, and you could get on back the belt back onto Swerve, and you could set up some programs with other people. You know, you had Ospreay go out there, say he's going to be part of the Owen. You also have Hangman Page as well that would lurk around on that. And so you could certainly do that. The other thing that kind of hangs over my head when it comes to the world title program is that you still have the Darby Allin effect when it comes to this. And we know with Tony Khan, especially recently, is that they are committed to a long-term story come hell or high water in some cases. We saw that with the Mariah May, Tony Storm stuff, where they were committed to that story and they were going to see it all the way through, even when the story had reached lower points and didn't reach the same highs that some might have expected from that story. So in this case, the story has been with Darby Allin that he wanted to go after the world championship, but Jon Moxley, you know, deceived him out of it. And you still have that sort of element where Darby's kind of in the background. He'll want his retribution back and want to. You could have that crowning moment for Darby against Jon Moxley, and that's sort of the long-term play. Obviously, there's the stuff as well with Mount Everest, if he's going to climb it, and if how far he's going to reach on the top, and when is he going to come back. So that's where I'm kind of in this balancing act right now, and. If you ask me this week, I'm still leaning on Moxley retaining. I think they're just committed to this Darby Allin story. Tony Khan really likes Darby Allin, and he's obviously been one of those key pieces in AEW's history since its inception. And this could be one of those bigger moments where you could crown a guy. In the case of Swerve, you already have somebody that I think we could both agree you could crown and be like, that's a guy you could rely on in your main event world title scene. This could be an opportunity with Darby Allin where you can have that sort of definitive moment for him where he could be in that main event world title scene if you wanted to with him, obviously in a different aspect than a guy like a Swerve or an Ospreay or a Hangman. So this week I'm still leaning on Moxley retaining only because I think they're going to see the Darby Allin stuff out because they are very committed to their plans come hell or high water.
And I don't mind that. I still try and work backwards to think, what's your main event at All In Texas? Do you need Hangman in that main event to sell it?
I think it would certainly help personally.
Swerve and Hangman again?
That would be fun.
I mean, you could do Hangman and Moxley.
You could.
But I also don't understand, like, who's going in the Owen? And are we already setting up for Hangman and Will Ospreay to be in the finals of that Owen? Because they're the first two entrants? Because the winner of the Owen's getting the shot at All In.
Right.
So when are you putting the title on Ospreay? And I'm a little bit biased because I just think he should have the title.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe he's too new in the company of Swerve and Hangman and Darby but I'm trying to think of what that main event would be that would really sell the main event. Where's Swerve from? Is he from Texas?
Swerve's, I thought he was from Seattle. Seattle,
Oh, he's from
Washington.
Seattle. No, he is from Seattle. Yeah. Just trying to think about what that main event looks like and then how you work backwards from it. Is Moxley Hangman? Is it Ospreay winning the Owen and going after Moxley at that point to end the reign of terror? Who is in that match at All In? I like the fact that we don't know, but I'm not quite clear on how they're going to get there.
Mm-hmm.
Because it could be Ospreay, it could be Hangman, it could be Swerve, it could be Moxley. And quite frankly, it could be Darby. What if Darby comes back to get into the Owen?
Yep.
So there's 5 guys for 2 spots in the main event of All In. And then, of course, you also have the rising Kyle Fletcher, who every week is getting better and better and better. And where are you going to put him?
Mm-hmm.
I think giving him the TNT championship or giving him a belt like that to strap on his shoulder would be a really good thing right now. And then are we merging, like, where are we going with the, feels like we're going to merge those Continental Classic belts and the International belt, but I guess we'll have to wait and see.
Yep. We'll see. I mean, I think the Omega Okada match in of itself would be a drawing match for sure for that All In show.
Yeah, I would agree.
So I'm looking forward to that too, once that officially gets announced. But
one thing I am looking forward to, Zach, is that you and I are going to be doing some separate Dark Side of the Ring shows. And we're going to start, of course, with Mick Foley as we sit here, came on Crave last night for everyone, Vice TV, and wherever you find Dark Side of the Ring. We're going to do that, and we're going to have our kind of separate shows just based on those episodes alone. I'm really looking forward to that.
Yeah, we got some great response from the Vince McMahon documentary series, the Who Killed WCW series. We figured let's do this for Dark Side of the Ring. And so we're very excited to bring that back. We're going to go through each episode of Dark Side, some interesting topics. We mentioned it when we brought up the topics last week, how they look really good this year. So we are going to review each episode and some of the different figures that they talk about, and bring something like we've done with the Mr. McMahon series and Who Killed WCW with Dark Side of the Ring. So some extra content coming your way in the next few weeks. Should be fun.
Doc, once again, just tell people about what's coming up on Friday for you, and you're going to put the link out. I know it's a really good thing that you and your colleagues are doing.
That's right. The Polar Plunge this Friday, raising funds for Special Olympics Ontario. You can find the link in the description, and I'll also share it on the social media as well for those that are following on our social media. Again, Twitter, or X, formerly known as Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at TIW_audio. That's where we're at. You can find the link to donate there as well. So hopefully you're able to contribute. And of course, we'll be sharing the photos and video coming from that Friday, where I will be very, very cold coming out of the water.
I think I would wear, if it were me, I would wear the full Orange Cassidy outfit.
Ooh,
with the t-shirt of "It's no problem."
not the Orange Cassidy picture, just the snow problem underneath the jean jacket.
Just the shirt. I mean, he's got the cool, calm, collected. It's no problem.
Yeah, I should just walk into the water like Orange Cassidy as well.
Yeah. If you could do that slowly without reacting with your face, that would be incredible, actually.
That would be commitment to the gimmick, let me tell you.
It would. Can you do it? I don't know.
Who knows?
Who knows? Who knows?
Who knows?
Yeah, who knows? Okay, we're gonna end, folks, but we will be back in a few days with a Dark Side of the Ring episode 1 on Mick Foley and the Undertaker, and that Hell in a Cell match that was so prominent. We'll talk about that, and we'll be back to talk more at the beginning of next week on Dynamite and Collision and SmackDown, and as we lead up to big month April with Dynasty and WrestleMania coming up. So for Zach McGibbon, I'm Lee Versage. Thanks again for listening to This Is Wrestling.